Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chandie Speaks podcast. It's your girl Chandie. I had to check my levels there real quick. Make sure I'm recording because I've had technical difficulties these past few episodes, but okay, we're recording, we're live. It's your girl Chandie. I'm back. It's the first week back in America since Costa Rica. What day is it? Today is Tuesday. Oh my god, it's April. I haven't talked to you guys all month. It's Tuesday, April 7th. So this podcast will be for Wednesday, April 8th. A little disclaimer. This episode, of course, per usual, might have a little break in between and you might hear a different sound quality, like I guess halfway through. I have a meeting in like 20 minutes, 15 minutes. So and then I have to work at my night job, so I won't have time really to like record this podcast. So I'm recording it sort of in bits and pieces throughout the day until I get off work to be able to edit it. No one's told me to do this. This is fun for me. But yeah, anyway, I'm back. Back in America. That was the intro. It's been a crazy week back, I've barely had any time to myself to unpack like anything spiritually, mentally, physically. Like everything is still kind of in the luggage. I've not unpacked. For those of you who are unaware, I spent the last 2 weeks in Costa Rica. So my last 2 episodes were from Costa Rica on vacation, and I'm just kind of transitioning myself back into the America life. You know what's crazy? I think it's kind of crazy. I don't know. I don't have many notes this week. I'm just, like I said, I have shit to do. So I'm like just doing bits and pieces, piecing it all together. Hopefully it'll be a good episode. But one thing that I just remembered was, I don't know if there's like, what's the logic behind like the taking off the shoes at the airport? I don't understand that. Like, it's sort of like, for me, it's just like a waste of time. It just gives people the illusion that they're safe. And like, okay, so I left the country. They didn't need me to take off my shoes at the Phoenix airport, like on my way out of the country, but my way back into the country where I'm from, I was born, they told me to take off my shoes. And mind you, on my way out of the country, I had on sneakers, socks, pants, long sleeves. I was like covered, and they just told me to walk through this machine. But on the way back in, Texas was my first American stop. Of course, land of the free. Depends on where you come from when you're coming into the country from out of the country. Sometimes, most of the time, I usually end up in Miami, which is kind of like a pain in the ass because it's Miami. But this time was like my first time flying into the country. Oh, one other time I flew in and I came in from Jamaica to New York, I believe. One of those two. But this was my first time coming into Texas, of all places. You know what I'm saying, y'all? And they told me to take off my shoes. Now, mind you, on my way back into the country from San Jose to Texas, it's probably like 3 p.m. I had on freaking shorts, a shirt, and sandals. I didn't even have socks on. There was no need for you to take off my shoes. It was like a humiliation ritual. That's what I think I called it. I was literally just there, happy, buzzing off of my vacation. Like, I don't care how long security is. I stayed in line smiling, just taking it all in. Like, wow, I'm back here in this fucking shit. And I guess he, did a random search. They say it's random, but really they just want to pick out the biggest sucker. Who can they piss off today? They weren't going to piss me off. I was on cloud 9. I had sandals on, bro. There was no need for you to ask me to take off my sandals. You saw my toes. What was I hiding in my shoe? Like, what is it? You just wanted to humiliate me. You wanted my bare feet to hit the international airport ground in America. And for me to like kind of remember why I left this damn country in the first place. It's just like unnecessary bullshit. I think they're just masquerading around like, oh yeah, you were randomly searched. Yeah, I look like a threat in my fucking flip-flops and my capris. So I thought that was weird. I don't know what the deal is with them asking to take off their shoes. I seriously feel like it's a humiliation ritual. What's the percentage is what I need to look up. What's the percentage of people who they ask to take off their shoes and they actually find something? You know, like it's unnecessary bullshit. Whereas you have other countries who are actually safe. I feel like my first dose of America coming back in, they were just like sort of masquerading around like they were safe. They were just trying to give you some smoke and mirrors show. Like, yeah, you were randomly selected. I call cap. Stop the cap. I've only been talking for 5 minutes. That was fun. So yeah, I flew into Phoenix. Dry as hell. It's dry as hell. Don't get me wrong. I live in beautiful Sedona. I live in my van in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. However, that's 100 miles away from Phoenix in the desert. No one likes going there. Shout out to no one from Sedona who wanted to pick me up from the desert. I mean, I guess I don't blame you. But yeah, that was my first time flying into the country from anywhere and having to take a bus from the airport. Last time I flew in from Guyana, I took an Uber, but that was from Atlanta to Cumming in Georgia, and that's like a 30-minute drive. This was like a 2-hour bus ride with a bunch of people at like midnight. It is what it is. Still living on cloud nine. Like I said, I still haven't like emotionally unpacked everything, and I think it's very important. I think next time I go out of the country, I always take long vacations. Next time I go out of the country, I'm going to make sure that my availability, that I'll have enough saved up for when I come back into the country, that I don't have to just jump back into work right away. Because I did kind of go all out in Costa Rica. But, you know, whatever. That's what you do when you go on vacation. But I think next time I'm going to plan for some time for myself so that I can decompress from the whole thing. Like, I literally haven't even looked at some of my drone footage. I've took amazing drone footage. All my pictures, my phone is like tweaking out right now because it's running out of storage and I have to like transfer. I have to do so much like editing and stuff just for myself, just for my own memories. I haven't even gotten to it yet. So I think it's very important to have that time for myself. Speaking of editing and content creating, I have the first, as of right now, today is Tuesday, as of right now, I have the first 5 days. By the time this podcast episode goes up, most likely the first week of my time in Costa Rica will be uploaded on YouTube. If you're not following me on YouTube, go ahead and follow me. New listeners, old listeners, whatever, it's Chandie Speaks on YouTube. And I put all of the videos in. It's like a day-by-day breakdown of every day I was in Costa Rica. The first 5 days are up now, but by the time you guys hear it, it'll be like the first 8 days because I know we had a couple days where we didn't do shit. They're all up publicly on YouTube right now. Go check them out, Chandie Speaks. Follow me there, subscribe, all that jazz. Same with all the other platforms I'm on, all that jazz. Thanks for listening. I don't really have much else to get into. I know I have to go into this meeting soon, so I wanted to, just give a solid intro to this episode. I took some notes, but not many because, like I said, I haven't had much time. Let me double check. I'm hungry. That's another thing. I might actually, after this meeting, go get something to eat and then squeeze in another half hour or something. And welcome back. Welcome back to America. Yeah, it didn't surprise me, though. It shouldn't surprise me when I come back into America, just like, what the fuck is this? Why did I even come back? Type energy is what I always feel whenever I come back. Doesn't matter how great the vacation was, how long the vacation was. Flying back into the country is kind of a pain in the ass. Anyone who, is accustomed to going through customs, almost makes me just want to never come back. Like I said, this might not even be like a real episode. I just committed to doing this podcast once a week. So here I am. Yeah, bittersweet being back in America, but it does feel nice knowing that I do live in Sedona and that, as of right now, these are where my roots are, and it's a postcard in and of itself. It's one of the most beautiful places in America. Although we're going into our busy season right now for tourism, which is what I should have expected. It's just high fucking traffic. Another traffic review from Sedona. High fucking traffic. And just tourism. And it is what it is. I want to talk a little bit about, I have a note here about Playa Pita in Costa Rica, just filling in space. So Playa Pita is a beach that we literally came across when we were leaving our first B&B. You guys go check out those day-by-day videos. The first day, I've already talked about it, we were just like deep in the jungle. It's just funny to sort of see the emotions and the reality check like in real time. And that's why I like making those videos. And you know, another thing, I know I'm going on a tangent right now, that I used to do van life diaries. Van life diaries was essentially just like, it started out with me recording like little diaries for myself, like a few minutes every day. And then I'd get into my little rants. And then that evolved into me wanting to feeling like I needed other people to hear these rants. And then those videos became longer, and then they became episodes. And then, you know, the rest is history for the van life diaries. And I stopped doing those videos and I transitioned over to the podcast. However, doing these day by day Costa Rican, you know, international episodes, it sort of was like a little nostalgic for me. I'll admit that it sort of brought back just the feeling good. Like I really do enjoy making the videos, the content that, you know, I have drone footage, I have pictures, I have like real life interactions with real people. And I really do enjoy making those videos. And I thought, like, do I want to go back and to do van life diaries? No. Short answer, no. I'm not going to go back and do van life diaries, because in a way it was sort of like an invitation into my deepest, most personal, private time to myself, which I hardly get these days. So the podcast is probably my limit. However, I am going to commit to making these international videos every time I go abroad and traveling somewhere. Anytime I go out of the country, I would love to just, you know, be able to put up all my day-to-day experiences so that I can inspire other people, and also for my own keepsake, mostly for that, because it's fun to do. It's fun to look back and see where I've been, you know. But anyway, Playa Pita, we were at this first B&B, like deep in the jungle in Costa Rica. It was right, 𝘵𝙗𝙗, I think is the name of the town. It's either pronounced 𝘵𝙗𝙗 or 𝘵𝙗𝙗. And it's like on the Pacific coast, right? Yeah, way on the west side. And we're driving up from there back into Alajuela, which is where we spent most of our time, like 3 hours away. And we ran across this hidden gem. I had no idea it was a hidden gem when I saw it, because to me, it's my first time seeing, you know, the Pacific coast in Costa Rica. It's my first time seeing the ocean in Costa Rica. So that's our first stop, and it was called Playa Pita. And I Googled that afterward, just a little history lesson for y'all. Playa Pita, or frequently referred to in local media as a hidden gem, specifically highlighted in Costa Rica drone trips TikTok, which I had no idea. Apparently, people have flown their drone at this location. This is my first day, mind you. First day in Costa Rica, leaving the jungle and just in awe of like the ocean. I can't swim, but I still like seeing like its majestic power. Like I love seeing the ocean and listening to the ocean. But it's a hidden gem apparently, and it's characterized as a secluded coastal spot in Costa Rica, known for its scenic, quiet atmosphere rather than extensive historical documentation. So no one really knows about this spot. We tried to actually find it on our way back when we went and had our beach day on her birthday, but we couldn't actually find it. That's how hidden this beach is. It's often showcased by drone travelogues as a pristine, tranquil, and hidden scenic spot, making it a popular location for nature photography and peaceful beach visits, which I thought was cool. One more thing about Costa Rica. I looked up the top dangerous... I didn't look it up. Google just suggested it to me as I was looking into Costa Rica. But it was telling me at first about the hippie town in Costa Rica. Like, what is the most hippie town in Costa Rica, which I did not get a chance to go see. And I wonder, what does hippie town mean in places other places outside of America. Like when you say hippie town in America, you think like Portland, motherfucking like, I don't know, somewhere in California somewhere. I've never been to those places here. Maybe a little bit of Denver, maybe. They're more like a hipster town in Denver. But so the most hippie town in Costa Rica is called, it's called Dominical, Dominical, Dominical. I have no idea where. I did not go to this spot. I did not get a chance to when I was out there, but it says that it tends to have a more hippie atmosphere than other beach towns in Costa Rica, and you can notice it right away when you visit. So definitely did not get a chance to see that out there. If anyone knows about that, that's okay, cool, good for you guys. Did not get a chance to see it while I was out there. I gotta go into this meeting. I'm already gotta be there at 1. I'm parked right outside. One more thing that I have here in my notes about that Google suggested was the top 6 dangerous cities in Costa Rica. And I think it's weird because I feel like I've been to all of these places, or if not most of them, and I did not get, like during my time there, I did not feel like I was unsafe or in any danger. I'd say the time where I felt in most danger was walking at night across this very specific bridge in Alajuela. I don't really know what neighborhood in Alajuela, for anyone who's familiar, but I would say it's just east of the box. The box is like where there's like shopping, there's a big park. That's where we got our tattoo done. There's restaurants. So there's the box and Alajuela, and then there's just east of the box, and we stayed just a little bit east of that point. And in between the box and our place, there was this 90-degree hill. Like literally the hill goes like straight down or straight up. I don't know how people drive up it or walk up it, but it's intense. And you can feel it, right? Like halfway through, I start like laughing because of the absurdity of just how steep this hill is, right? So this is coming out of the box. Coming out of the box, going east, you're going down this steep hill. And then there's this sus fucking bridge. We called it the 8-ball bridge because there was some graffiti behind on like the gate, you know, when you're crossing over the bridge. It goes over like a creek or a lake or something. But yeah, it's this bridge, and then there's some graffiti on the wall that's at the bridge, and it's one of them is like this big 8-ball, and you can just tell walking over this bridge there's garbage there. That's like the most dangerous that I felt. There's not really much pollution outside of that little area where we call it the 8-ball bridge. It's the most unsafe I felt, and I didn't even feel unsafe walking across it in the daytime. Like the daytime bums or the daytime hobos or addicts are pretty chill. It's just during those, weird hours of the night. I think the latest we walked past was like 7 or 8 at night, and the sun sets at 5. So people are still out, but, that's when stuff tends to happen. Weird stuff tends to happen. So other than that, I didn't feel unsafe in Costa Rica at all. Hardly really felt unsafe there either. We just knew that was the 8-ball bridge. That's where people would probably go and get their 8 balls. Respectfully. So Google told me that the 6 most dangerous cities, and then I'm going to get out of here and continue back. Santa Rita de Alajuela, or El Infierno. I don't know where that is, but de Alajuela is where we were staying, and apparently it's like it's a huge province or big neighborhood. Santa Rita de Alajuela, or El Infierno, there are several neighborhoods in the San Jose area that are considered violent and or dangerous, and it's advisable to avoid them. Did not get that vibe, even when I went down to San Jose. When I went down to San Jose for like the market, it didn't feel unsafe. It felt like New York meets like the jungle. Like it's like very fast paced. It's like a lot of tourism, a lot of walking around. There are a lot of homeless people out there, but they're not like violent or bothering me at all. Like, it's just, you know, one of those places like downtown, like picture like a downtown area multiplied by like 10. And that's what the San Jose market sort of gave me. Didn't feel unsafe, just felt like I definitely needed to be alert, on my toes and paying attention, and you know, and just smart, you know, like don't carry your fucking money, flash your money out and shit like that. So that's what Google said is a dangerous place. And then the next in line is Leon the 13th, Tibas in San Jose. Have no idea where that is. The third top is Limon City. Actually, Limon is the Caribbean side, and it made it on this list a couple times. As number 3 is Limon City, and another number 4 is La Cienega, I think. Cieneguita in Limon City, which, you know, some other locals told me that Limon is questionable, but I didn't get a chance to go there. Number 5, Santa Rosa de Pocosol in San Carlos, and number 6 is Punta Arenas City in Punta Arenas. I believe we drove through most of those places except Limon, and like I said, I didn't feel unsafe at all while I was out there. So yeah, I highly recommend just going and seeing it for yourself. Don't let other people and their own experiences deter you from going to experience it yourself. Because like literally 98% of the time, when someone told me, hey, don't do this or don't go there, like 98% of the time, I had nothing to be afraid of and I should have just went. Like I've stopped myself from doing things because of what other people experienced. And a lot of people don't live their life like me. Really, no two lives are the same. No one has the same experiences. So there's that. But also, like, I'm also built different. Like, I handle life differently. I approach life differently. So, you know, not trying to invalidate anyone else's experiences, but that ain't, I mean, I'll take it into consideration, but it really ain't got shit to do with me. You know what I'm saying? So I'll keep that in mind. I said that I was going to keep that in mind from Guyana when I, you know, wanted to do things and people told me not to do it because of the violence. And so I didn't do it. And I told myself I was going to not do that again. And I found myself doing it this time. So yeah, just checking myself, just trying to put myself out there like, yo, you did it again. Stop doing that. Stop listening to people. Listen to yourself. Listen to your own intuition. I gotta get out of here. I'll continue this later, but yeah. Okay, so I'm back. I started recording this podcast yesterday, but I'm finishing it up right now. It's still Wednesday. This will be uploaded at some point at the end of the day. Please excuse my morning voice. I worked last night, and then after work I went to the bar, like a local pub in Sedona, and I had, I think, 2 beers. Yeah, and then I went to sleep pretty hard. So I'm finishing up this podcast right now. I have like just a half hour, and honestly, I don't really have much to talk about. This may just be one of those boring podcasts. I actually considered throwing in a clip because I've made some recordings just for my own ears to hear in the last couple weeks, but I'm not going to do that. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and just write it out, just finish this episode. So I guess to round out this episode, this is just sort of like my welcome back episode. Like I said, pretty boring, pretty interesting stuff here. I'm going to read this book that I made. I'm going to probably go over a few of my TikTok comments. And then, of course, for my listeners who are J. Cole fans who has missed my weekly fall off review, at the end of this episode, I'll throw in my weekly J. Cole fall off review. Okay, so there is a video version of this episode, which you probably can't see. I'm probably not even going to upload it, but I'm just going to describe it. I got this idea from someone off Instagram about a little over a year ago, before I went to Guyana. And it was someone who had a little notebook, like just a little notebook, not like a notepad, like an actual little mini journal. and they use it for every time they go out of the country. They they make connections and they make new friends. They ask these people in different countries to sign their book with some life advice. And I thought that was a really cute idea, so I'm going to read some of my life advice that I got from my people in Costa Rica. I wish I had thought of this idea way before when I first started internationally traveling. I just thought of this idea on my last trip to Guyana, and I'm pretty sure I did an episode already where I read what people have written me. It doesn't matter how long it is. It can be one sentence or paragraph. I know one girl in Guyana gave me like a whole page worth of advice. I prefer if they signed their name, but some people did not sign their name. But I think it's a great idea to like look through, and you'll see different life advice from, people around the world. I know I did an episode where I read all of these before, so I'm not going to read the ones that I got in Guyana. I got like quite a few. I'm just going to read the ones that I got here in Costa Rica. And I have 4 different people signed my book. 5, if you're including Haven, the girl that I went with. 5 different people signed this book, and they all wrote it in Spanish because, that's the language there. So I'm going to translate it as best as I can because not everyone, I can't really read some of this handwriting, but just give me a second. Hold on. Yeah, I, when I come across interesting people or cool people or make these connections, I just ask them, hey, do you want to sign my book with life advice? Just any life advice that you have. And it's not even that I need life advice per se, but it's just nice to see how other people give advice from their perceptions of me from different parts of the world. So I told all the people in Costa Rica who signed my book, I told everyone who I met in Costa Rica who signed my book to sign it however long they want, write whatever they want, and they all wrote it in Spanish because it's easier for them to write in Spanish. So I'm going to translate as best I can. The first entry was from 𝘲𝙫𝙫, 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 Costa Rica. He was our tour guide at the sloth tour in La Fortuna on our first full day. Day 2, I believe, is when I physically met him, but he was like our first full day in Costa Rica. We went to La Fortuna. We went to the sloth tour. He was very knowledgeable. Bless his whole family. He likes being out there in the jungle. Bless his whole life. 𝘲𝙫𝙫. And he wrote, I'm going to read it in Spanish to see how I sound. And maybe I'm... Ten paciencia porque las cosas buenas llegan a su tiempo. I hope I said that right. Google translates it as be patient because good houses come in their own time. Maybe that was supposed to be things. Be patient because good things come in their own time. That's what he wrote. That was from 𝘲𝙫𝙫 in Costa Rica, La Fortuna. Okay, and then the next one, I forgot what day that was, but this was my second entry. It was from Denver Rodriguez. Shout out to Denver Rodriguez, the owner, operator of Denver's airport service. He was basically our best friend while we were out there. Anytime we messaged him for tips or advice or a ride or anywhere, he was always readily available. And he was just, I would say, like my best friend that I made out there. Denver Rodriguez. Beautiful soul. He wrote, I'm going to read it in Spanish first. Crea tu propio negocio y no le regales tu tiempo a alguien si no te valora. Un abrazo y bendiciones. I know, my Spanish is kind of choppy, but the Google translation to Denver's message was, start your own business and don't give your time away to someone who doesn't value you. Hugs and blessings. And I love him for that. I really do, because we were, just we're very stimulated from our first day. He spent basically our first full day with us in La Fortuna. Took us to the sloth tour, took us to the hot springs, waited around for us, took us to go get ice cream. We went out to eat for breakfast. And, me and my friend Haven, we were, doing what girls do and just talking up a storm. So I'm pretty sure his advice came from just him just observing and listening to our conversation. I'll read it again. He said, "Start your own business and don't give your time away to someone who doesn't value you. Hugs and blessings." Bless you, Denver Rodriguez in Costa Rica. Pura vida. Okay, the next one was from my tattoo artist. Let me get this translation here. Okay, yes, the next one was written on miércoles 25 de marzo. So, Wednesday, March 25th in Costa Rica from my tattoo artist, Michael Alvarado. Michael Alvarado was my tattoo artist. Extremely great artist. Anyone who goes to Costa Rica and they're like, we need to get a tattoo, we want a really good artist, I'm going to refer them to Harold's Tattoo Studio in the box in Alajuela. Not sure of the exact street name, but we just called it the box because if you know, you know. If you look up Harold's Tattoo Studio in Alajuela, you will find Michael Alvarado, who is my artist. Beautiful, kind person, extremely talented. And I want him to do all my tattoos. He made one of my tattoos better. I had a tattoo on my left arm of basically like the moon phases, sort of going into like some Fibonacci sequence type deal. I got it done years ago in Colorado, but the artist who did it in Colorado was clearly a newbie. She did not know what she was doing, and it was supposed to be like my favorite tattoo, but it ended up being just like a tattoo that gets forgotten about because it just doesn't pop. So I asked Michael Alvarado in Costa Rica, after he did my passport stamp tattoo, which is my first international tattoo ever, I asked him like if he could just make this other tattoo better, and he did. Now it totally pops. Anyone who's following my stories on Instagram, you'll see like it totally pops. It's a whole big difference. The guy is, very talented. It's a family business. His uncle or dad or somebody, his family owns like this tattoo shop, and they're all like tatted up head to toe, and they're all great artists. But I had the pleasure of having Michael Alvarado work on me, myself, and my friend Haven while we went out there. She also got 2 art pieces done. She spent like $1,000 just on one sleeve, 2 different sessions. And yeah, that's just me giving him his flowers that he deserves. But he wrote, I'm going to say it in Spanish and then read the translation. He wrote, oh God, I can't read this. Se agradecido por cada experiencia de lo vivido. I know my American accent is coming through my Spanish translation, but Michael translated that. It says, be grateful for every experience you've seen. I love that. Okay, and then last but not least, I got, I have to translate this, hold on. The last entry in this that I got was from another driver, my Uber driver. Shout out to my Uber driver, Brian. He was the one who took me out roller skating, and he also took me out to the market in San Jose, waited around for me while I was like navigating through the crazy tourist excitement down there, and he picked me up, took me out to eat. Very kind, very respectful. And loves his country. Shout out to Brian, the Uber driver in Costa Rica. He wrote on Domingo 29 de marzo, so Saturday. No, I think that was Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, March 29th. He wrote, La vida es una ruleta. Todo lo que hagas, eso se te devolverá. Por eso siempre haz el bien. Dios bendiga el mundo. My Spanish did sound a lot better a couple weeks ago when I was actually out there. I got compliments from locals. But that was from Brian, and the Google Translate says, life is a roulette wheel. Everything you do will come back to you. That's why you should always do good. God bless the world. And that was from Brian, Costa Rica. That's it. Those are that's my life advice from my 4 friends I made in Costa Rica. Oh, and I have one more written from Haven. She's like the only woman. All of those were men. Respectfully, you know. This one was from Haven, written on the very last day, April 1st, on our way out of the hotel. She writes, take the trip, make the plans, make new friends, never forget where you come from, and look to where you are destined. Smile from the heart and rejoice with your soul. Be kind always and be patient with yourself. Be free in all things because the only thing stopping you is you. Stay groovy. Haven 2026, Costa Rica. Yep, that was it. Bless everybody who made my vacation special. Everyone who made that a beautiful experience. Okay, so now I'm clearly just over this podcast entirely. I don't have any time to myself. This is like my only day off. So as soon as I'm done recording this, editing this, and uploading it, I can officially start maybe unpacking my things. I've been back in America for a week. I've not unpacked any, but I made some TikTok posts while I was out of the country, and since I've been back that I have not, dived into. So I'm just going to head and read some of those right now. Thoroughly entertaining or not. Depends on who you are. And I'm only going to read the ones that got over 1,000 views, because a lot of these was just me talking shit and not many people commented on those. I'm only going to read the ones that had comments. I made quite a few posts. Which is sad. It's fun when like people just like the post but they don't comment, because it's like, enough is said. But I kind of wish people did have things to say about the ones. Okay, this one was one that I think it didn't trigger people. It was just sort of like a hard truth, and no one was really upset about it. They were just kind of in agreement with it. The post I made on TikTok, if you're not already following me, go ahead and follow me at Chandie Speaks. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. The post I made says, what you find attractive is often familiar, not necessarily good for you, and it's tied to unresolved emotional wounds. Now, that's not even really me poking a bear. That's just stating facts, which I don't have the links to back it up right now, but you guys can go ahead and look it up yourself, or maybe I'll do another deep dive later. But really, the only comments I got from that post was just people just joking, like, tone, like, how dare you speak this truth, kind of like everyone agreed with it. They just, it was just a hard truth to swallow. One person commented, Poetry of the Gospel is their name, their username. They wrote, that's what is meant when people say you will keep experiencing the same thing until you learn the lesson. It could just as easily be same thing until that wound heals, which is essentially what that post was kind of getting at. Like, what we find attractive is not actually, it may not necessarily be good for you. It's usually, tied to some kind of unresolved emotional wounds. I know that there's some scientific evidence to back it up. I just don't have it right here in front of me because I'm fucking tired. But I think I read something about that somewhere, like all these kinks that people have, and even their sexuality, it usually comes down to something that happened to them traumatically, and that they've just been living with on these unresolved wounds, and they've justified it, and they're like, oh, I have a this kind of kink, or I'm attracted to these kind of people, when really it has nothing to do with your level of attraction towards them. It has to do with your lack of awareness on these unresolved emotional wounds. I know I've probably talked about this before, because if you're really healing, if you're truly healing, the type that you had before you started the healing journey wouldn't even be your type anymore. You would not be attracted to that person anymore. And if you are still attracted to that person, then you haven't fully healed. Yeah, so that's as deep as I got with that. I was on vacation when I made that post. I made this other post that got over 1,100 views, which I've talked about this before, but I'll go ahead and read it now. I made the post, 5 days ago? God, can you believe a week ago today, I was in Costa Rica. So sad. A week ago today, I was in Costa motherfucking Rica. What day is it? It's Wednesday? This was my last hour. I was like sitting outside, probably crying. Sitting outside the hotel, probably crying and smoking the rest of my weed. Actually, no. Denver was just picking us up this time last week. Oh, I was in another country last week. It's just okay. Please excuse me. I'll get over it. But I made this post 5 days ago on TikTok, and it says, society doesn't teach boys to be men. It teaches them to not be like women. They go their entire lives being told that the worst thing that they can do is be like a woman, and we wonder why they don't actually like women. Now, this is one of those posts where I don't know if there is some actual hard evidence to back this up to be a fact, or if this is just something that sounds good to say. But it does sound good. I mean, when you think about it, it kind of sounds like there should be some factual evidence to back it up. That we're not actually teaching the boys to be men. We're teaching them to not be like women, which is a big difference, very big difference. I don't really have the energy to go and deep dive on it, but I'm going to read the comments that I got from some people who were kind of just like, okay, what's the fucking point of this? I don't really have a point. I don't really have a point to posting these hard truths other than just to bring awareness to people. That's it. And I scroll over those people who have nothing positive to contribute to the discussion. I just skip over them. I only got 9 comments. I'm going to read it. FKN Billy writes, anything else? And then, yeah, people responded to him. Well, he said he posted a picture of anything else, and it's a microphone heading to a garbage. I feel like the men who commented on this in that way are super triggered. Maybe it completely resonates with them and they just can't face their own reality. Respectfully, I mean, I expected men to be more triggered by this than women, of course, because it's kind of coming down on women, or coming down on men, even though it really isn't coming down on anyone. At what point am I not coming down on people just by speaking the truth? You know, if I can prove factually that, like, for example, all men are cheaters, then how is that coming down on men if I'm just stating a fact? You know, I'm not saying that's a fact. That was just an example. Don't come for me. So I'm getting that, like, yeah. I don't know if this is a full fact or not, but it's evident in our society. You can just see that the boys are not being taught to be men. Not all of them. Most of the boys are not taught to be men. They're taught to not be like women. And they keep it up. They perpetuate it within their own male circles, like with each other. Like, hey, don't do that. You're a woman, or you're a fag, or, you know, that's what women do. They don't teach them what men do. They just teach them what men don't do, I guess. Anyway, so the next comment was from Michael, 1992. He writes, climate change is a more important issue. So, yeah, he's having some hard time with this post. And then someone responded to them when he said climate change is a more important issue. 𝘾𝙤𝙨 responded, go throw your phone in the river and start contributing then. Because that's just kind of a pain in the ass. Like, it's so annoying when you're talking about something that has nothing to do with this other topic, and then people are like, well, this is more important. There are people in Africa who are dying. Okay, I'm not talking about the dying people in Africa or the climate change. I'm talking about this right now. Your lack of masculinity. You're acting, you know, like you can't handle just a regular statement without going off rail and about climate change. Who gives a fuck? I mean, I'm not saying I don't give a fuck about climate change, but I'm not talking about climate change right now. You know, isn't that annoying when people fucking do that? Like, come on. Learn how to debate or discuss or get the fuck out of the conversation. And then I think those are the only comments worth mentioning. 𝘾𝙤𝙨 writes, this is low-key true. I liked this comment. This was like the only person who kind of openly agreed. 𝘾𝙤𝙨 writes, this is low-key true. I feel like men are scared to do anything considered, quote, feminine, end quote, and they call everything feminine in a negative way in regards to each other. Exactly. It's not like they're going around calling everything feminine in like a positive way, you know, like, oh, you're so in touch with your feelings, you're acting just like a woman. They're not saying that in a positive way to each other. You know, they're saying it like, oh, you're in touch with your feelings, you're acting like a woman, like in a negative fucking way. Don't do that. You know, don't cry. Women cry, you know? So it is kind of low-key true. I'll probably find some nice articles to back it up, but let's just all agree that, yeah, this is most likely dead on. User 5609 with like 20 other numbers that I'm not going to read writes, try being a man, not as easy as you think. Okay, first and foremost, no thank you. I don't want to try being a man. Okay, and I'm not saying that being a man is not easy. I don't know, this person was clearly triggered, did not understand the assignment. Try being a man, it's not easy as you think. What did he mean by that? Like, it's not easy being a man while people are trying to tell you to not be like women? I don't know. Which one is it? Are you trying to be a man, or are you trying to not be a woman? Those are two different things. You know what I mean? I'm just going to skip over that comment. Moving right along. 𝑙Rabbi writes, the emotional trauma of teaching boys to hate their mothers is inestimable. I don't understand what that means. The emotional trauma of teaching boys to hate their mothers. I don't know what she was getting at with that. I don't understand the phrasing. Moving on. Crackazoid is the user. Crackazoid writes, this is such a non-issue. But someone responded to them. Ghouls on Parade responded to them for men. Because it's kind of a non-issue for men, but it is an issue for women. It's an issue for everybody. Obviously not bigger than like climate change or starving kids in Africa, but it's still an issue culturally here. And Crackazoid is probably just coming to terms with that, bless his heart. Because we have to deal with these men. Society, not just the women, but society as a whole have to deal with these men who aren't in touch with their masculinity. They're more in touch with like just pushing down their feminine parts. I would totally get on the soapbox right now. I just don't have enough information and I'm tired. Brianna Dawn writes, truth. I liked that comment. Ty writes, their whole lives without being told. I'm assuming they all had mothers, correct? And yet, according to you and this post, they just didn't say anything to their sons? Not a thing? I did not respond to them, but Hillset77 responded to them, saying, some do and some completely enable it, believe it or not. Also, not everyone holds their mother to a level of respect. Crazy to me. I think that's all for that post. It starts with one responded, LMFAO, what? Like I said, I don't have the evidence to back it up right now. It just sounds really nice, but I'm pretty fucking sure that it's true. Just evidently, just going off of the men that I come into contact with. And I'm going to go on a little sidebar here. Me and my friend Haven were actually talking about this in Costa Rica, that perhaps, I'll do a deep dive on this later down the line, but perhaps these American women, myself included, all the American women perhaps have like some kind of over dramatized or an exaggerated perception or view of how men should be generally. I think American women are we're obviously different than any other women in the world, but like, yeah, the way that we view our men, like here in America, I'm not coming down on anybody, okay? Anybody's genetics, but here in America, like it's usually like the men who are at least 5'9" and taller, like 6 feet or taller, who women deem attractive, right? That's just a fact. I don't know many short kings who are just having all these women, access to all these women. Okay. Typically in America, if you're tall, you don't even have to be attractive. Like, you could literally be living with your mom, no car, no job, nothing to offer society, teeth missing, you can't shave, you don't know how to dress well, barely, you don't respect people at all. But if you're like 6 feet, you automatically are considered more attractive than like a short king with all of those things that you're lacking. Does that make sense? And it's kind of weird because you don't really have any control over that. Genetically, you either got the prize or you didn't get the prize. I get that. But when I was in Costa Rica, I was like, I noticed that all the men are short. I'm literally not coming down on anybody in any culture, but I rarely saw anyone over 6 feet in Costa Rica, literally. And I was looking for tall people, and everyone is at least my height, like 5'5", 5'6", maybe 5'7". I think the tallest guy I saw out there was like 5'7". And me and Haven were talking about that. Like, that's, and all those men, mind you, all the men that I came into contact with, all the ones that signed my book, all the ones that I met along the way in restaurants or here or there, all of them had women. They were all attached to a woman. Beautiful women, but that's besides the point. All of them were attractive enough to a woman in their country. And it made me think, like, what that's probably why we're missing out on some of these things, because there's only so many men who are 6'2", okay, in the world, let alone America. There's only so many men who are 6'2" and successful and can take care of themselves and speak well and loves their mom and takes care of business and shit like that. So you take out all the men who are under 6 feet, and then of the people who are 6 feet and higher, take out all the men who are actually successful in their lives. Just here in America, you literally have like 2 guys. There's like no one. There's no one. And maybe that's why, just saying, not coming down on any of them, maybe that's why we're so like bitter and alone, I guess, because we just don't want to settle for a short man, or for some reason, like, our standard of beauty is measured differently than these other countries are. Like, all these short kings, and I'm saying short king relatively, like, in their country, they're probably average, but in our country, we call anyone under 6 feet a short king. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of patronizing, but that's neither here nor there. If you take out all those people, you really got no one else. So yeah, I think we kind of have to get over ourselves. Respectfully, the ladies in this country, we probably have to get over ourselves just a little bit. Like, not everyone's going to be born like giants and have their shit together. Like, but that's what women find attractive here. And it's so funny to see. Like, I went out and I was like, man, everybody's short here. But really, is everyone short, or is that just my American brain filter looking at all these people? I know that most of the people all the men that I've met in Costa Rica who are under 6 feet, they would not last a day out here in America. They wouldn't, just because of their genetics alone. And they all are business owners, speak multiple languages, have families, they take care of themselves, but they're under 6 feet, and American women don't find that attractive. It's kind of weird to me. Maybe we need to get over ourselves just a little bit. I'll feel like I'm gonna do a deep dive on that later. And what did I go on? Oh yeah, I think that was a tangent off of that post. I think that's all, right? Hold on. I just thought that was a funny comparison. I also made this post, which I do have scientific evidence to back it up. I just don't have it right now. But this post I made 3 days ago, it says the average man has never gone 90 plus days without releasing his seed since he first learned how. How's that? Isn't that crazy? I don't even want to go into it, but I'm just going to read the comments. And mostly people they're just mad that they can't control their carnal desires. Villain supporter writes, what is the point you are making with this information? And that's so annoying when people say that. I'm on TikTok. What is the point of any of this? No one needs to make a post about anything. So you should, if you're going to come on my post and say, what's the point of you making this post? You should do that with anything having to do with social media, because there's no point to any of this. None of this shit matters. That's so annoying. If you don't have a good discussion topic, just say that. If you don't have anything positive to contribute to the discussion, then just say that, or just like, there is no point. The point is that you're commenting on this post now, and now I'm speaking on it right now. There literally is no point. Shut up. Okay. Spike writes, sure, yeah, what's it to you? Yeah, a lot of these people, obviously, they have nothing to contribute to the conversation, so they're just saying whatever they want to say. Milan writes, okay. Yeah, no one wanted to talk about that. And it's okay. I'll just read it again. The average man has never gone 90 plus days without releasing his seed since he first learned how. It's not saying it's good or bad. It's literally stating a fact. How's about this? Writes, I'd only do it if there was a reward attached. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to get into it, but I just thought that was a fun fact that, the average man hasn't gone more than 3 months without releasing his seed. The average man. And I'm not I'm obviously not including the men who are in control of their seed and have some kind of self-control. There are many out there, and I'm not pushing celibacy either. This is more of like a self-control, an awareness to the lack of self-control that men have. And I know a lot of men like to blame it on, well, I'm a man. I'm always horny. I always got to do this. I always got to bust. And I'm just like, no, you don't. You don't. And I'm pretty sure, like, I would like to look up the numbers on that. Like, what's the average age that men learn how to jack off? And I would say probably like, 14, 15, maybe 16. That means men my age right now have never gone, like, on average, like 20 plus years with releasing a seed, without going more than 90 days without releasing a seed. And I just think that's just a lack of self-control. I don't know. I think at some point we do have to grow up and stop thinking about sex all the damn time, right? I'm not a man, so I don't know how that, feels to be a man, but I've seen men who are in control of their seed and their carnal desires and their temptations. So I know that it's possible. I know that it's absolutely possible. And then those men are just more disciplined and have more self-control. No shade. I'm just throwing out the facts. Okay. And then I think that's all I really wanted to do, talk about. I've talked long enough. All my other posts were just like, meh. I'm going to go into my J. Cole Fall Off weekly review. For anyone who's not a J. Cole fan, this is the end of the podcast for you. I have been out of the country for 2 weeks. This is like my first full week back. So, and I was in Costa Rica. This was like the first time I went on vacation where the majority of the time, or the majority of the music that I listened to in this other country was not native to that country. I mean, usually when I go like to Jamaica, I listen to nothing but my Rasta playlist. When I went to, Dominican Republic, I listened to like mostly bachata, reggaeton, any kind of Spanish music, right? This was my first time going out of the country, and I didn't go out of my way to listen to the music that was of the country. I mostly listened to J. Cole or J. Cole music that sort of fit the theme. Like, so yeah, obviously I didn't do as much J. Cole listening as I have been this year since the Fall Off was released, because I was on vacation and I was also with another person. So I had to take their listening into consideration. But let me just go ahead and pull up, when was the last time I was doing the weekly review? So I went out of the country on March 18th. So from March 16th through March 22nd, this is on Spotify, March 16th through March 22nd, my top song for the week was, of course, Bombs in the Ville. It did not reach over 300 plays like it had been these past few weeks, but this first week in Costa Rica, I got 39 plays as my top song for the week for Bombs in the Ville /Hit the Gas. The second highest song is The Let Out by 24 plays. The Let Out has literally been my anthem since I left. It's been my anthem for the last couple weeks. It's been slowly creeping up. And the top third song is the 29 intro with 22 plays, which is weird because that's literally just an intro. It's like a minute long. But I guess I started playing the fall off from, the 29 intro from the first disc at least 22 times. So we're not even going to count that as a song. We're going to count the next one. 39 intro has 21 plays during that week, and 2-6 had 21 plays. Top artist, of course, was J. Cole. Then the following week after that, March 23rd, which was my birthday, to March 29th, top song again was Bombs in the Ville, Hit the Gas, but it went down to 14 plays. And then the second highest song was 39 intro with 9 plays, and the third highest was also 9 plays with the Let Out. The Let Out was like my goodbye song. That part in the song where he says, "You ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get the fuck out of here." I was like singing that song through tears on my last few hours in Costa Rica. Like, no, I don't have to go home, but I do have to get the fuck out of here. Will I make it home? Will I make it home? Such a great song. Such a great song. Also, I slipped in my top 4 song for March 23rd to March 29th was Trey the Truth in Ibiza. I don't even know how to say that, but it was from Might Delete Later. It's from the album Might Delete Later. I played that song 8 times. Honestly, all of J. Cole's music is pretty fucking great. Top 5th song was The Fall Off Is Inevitable with 8 plays. Okay, moving right along. Top artist was J. Cole. And then the last week, March 30th to April 5th, top song again was Bombs in the Ville, Hit the Gas. This was like transitioning from my last few days in Costa Rica into my first few days back into America. Bombs in the Ville hitting back up, or Hit the Gas is going back up the list at 74 plays at number 1. And of course, creeping up there is the Let Out with 58 plays. The Let Out is probably my low-key anthem. I don't know why. Every time it comes on, I just love it. It's such a great song. And I didn't like it at first. Number 3, Only You with Burna Boy has 10 plays. Number 4 was 2-6, and number 5 was 39 intro with 9 plays. And we're still in this week right now, April 6th through April 12th. So they're still tallying up the numbers, but it's looking like 39 intro will be the top song this week. And J. Cole, of course, is also the artist. Okay, that's literally all I have this week. Thank you for bearing with me. Sorry if this was boring. Not really sorry, but appreciate anyone who listens to me. I'll see you guys next week.